and welcome to Tea Time, brought to you by New Jersey Tea Party Coalition. As you know, over the past few months, we've brought to you different programs regarding trying to educate and inform the voters of different topics that really impact your life. Well, tonight we're going to be speaking about education system and the funding and how our tax dollars are being distributed unequally, and the inequity in the education system. And tonight, to speak about it and to maybe make some clarifications for us, is our very own co-founder, Tim Adrians. Tim,
Hi,
welcome.
Hi.
Nice to have you here. So I was doing a little research on, the state income tax and how it's distributed throughout the municipalities for the schools. And I didn't realize, but New Jersey instituted the state income tax in 1976. I wasn't aware of that. Prior to that, we didn't have any state income tax. And according to our New Jersey state constitution, the state income tax revenue is to be divided equally for each student. And as it stands now, 20% of students are receiving 60% of the education dollars. Now that's the most unequal school funding formula in America. So I know there's different things out there. I mean, we pay such high property taxes, and it's driving people out of the state. Now I know there's different bills that are coming up as far as the fair school funding, and maybe you can expand on that.
Well, let's take it from the top.
Okay.
In 1875, the New Jersey State Constitution was changed so that there would be a thorough and efficient form of public education. And back in the 1970s, some of the urban districts felt that they weren't getting a fair shake in the sense of a thorough and efficient education because they didn't have the means to give that education because of the fact that they may not have the same tax base as some of the more rich districts throughout the state of New Jersey. So they were petitioning and also filing suit to get proper funding to happen for their district, so that it would be an equal education system. Ultimately, what happened was that there was a lawsuit known as Abbott versus Burke. And in Abbott versus Burke, the New Jersey State Supreme Court ruled that the disadvantaged school districts, if they're determined as such, and there are about 31 of them in the state today, that they were to receive the same amount of funding as the highest funded school districts in the state of New Jersey. So in essence, what is happening is that all of us within the state of New Jersey are sending our money to Trenton.
Right. And
that money goes disproportionately to about 31 districts. And these 31 districts, urban, disadvantaged, and some of them really aren't. For example, Hoboken.
Right.
Hoboken, where I think it's, well, I have a gazillion things written down here, and it's just amazing what we have found out. But let's, before we even get into some of those details, let's talk about some of the insanity of what's going on. The basic premise is that if we throw money at education, somehow students will learn. The only problem is it's filtered from the top down. So, for example, I know two people personally who are teachers in the city of Patterson. Fine people, love their students, work hard, and pay out of their own pockets to buy school supplies for their classroom. Why is that when they're receiving so much money? Well, when you take, for example, in Newark, Newark has 400 administrators, all earning over $100,000 a piece. And yet, only 39% of the 8th graders in Newark are proficient in reading.
Right, so that goes to your point, that the more money you throw at the school systems doesn't make for better students.
Not necessarily, no.
Right.
No. And it's not a fair school funding system. Fort Lee students, the cost for a Fort Lee student is $16,000 $232. That's what the district is basically figuring is what it costs per student to educate them. In Newark, it's $22,000. Now, Asbury Park, which is ridiculously absurd, spends $26,782. Now,
where do they come up with this? Where do they come up with this? How do they come up with this formula? I mean, there's the inequity is.
What they're doing is they're raising their overhead. So you've got a top-heavy system with way too many administrators.
Right.
They're spending money willy-nilly without having it filter down to the actual students. So the students are suffering in these urban districts because of the fact that they've got this bureaucracy which is taking the money from Trenton and basically wasting it.
Right.
It's absurd that Newark has 400 administrators.
I had heard that, yeah. And they each receive, what, over $100,000 a year?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Now the city of Newark, for example, only pays 9% of its own costs to the schools. In other words, the city of Newark is only providing 9% of the funding.
Okay.
Through their property taxes and so forth. Because the fact that the state picks up all the rest, it has allowed the city of Newark to go out and spend $210 million on an ice hockey rink or $36 million for a minor league baseball stadium, of which, by the way, the people of Essex County have to carry a $500,000 debt service on for that stadium. So what's really happening is that you're finding a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse.
Right. Well, I read here that for every $1 of federal income tax that we sent to Washington, D.C., we get 61 cents back. Okay? We're dead last in the country. Also, 150 towns in New Jersey receive only a nickel back on every dollar sent to Trenton. And in contrast with other towns who are getting $20, $30, and $40 back for every dollar they send to Trenton. So, it's not fair. It's not equal, and the students are suffering, and people who are paying all this property tax, they're not getting their fair shake.
Well, what you're finding is that the people of New Jersey suffer when we send money to Washington, D.C. and figure that it's going to get redistributed back to the states, which is unconstitutional to begin with.
Right.
That we don't even want to even consider. That should be fixed. But when it comes to our own state of New Jersey, it's a little hard for us to do things down in Washington, D.C. when we're dealing with Congress and the White House and 50 different states. But in New Jersey, we have a New Jersey state legislature.
Right.
Trenton is not that far.
Right.
As a matter of fact, many of our state legislators live in our neighborhoods. We know who they are. How is it that you have this situation where there's such an inequity in the state of New Jersey? We have to fix Trenton. The problem is going on in Trenton.
So in other words, you're saying the legislature, we have to change Trenton. We have to turn out people that are going to have our interests, and get this straightened out.
Absolutely. And the state legislature is up for re-election this year.
Yes.
The entire thing.
Yep.
If we want to fix education in the state of New Jersey, if we want to lower our tax dollars so that our property taxes are not so exorbitant. My wife and I, we look at our tax bill, and it's such a ridiculous amount of money that we wonder that if we were to retire, how would we even stay in our home? Yeah. Which is the way it's happening with much of the middle class in the state of New Jersey. They're being driven out because of the ridiculous costs. Now, these costs, some of the insanity. For example, there's an Abbott district. Now, Abbott districts are the districts that are deemed in need. One of them is Hoboken. It has a per capita income of $74,506. It's listed as a poor neighborhood.
How can that be?
Now, in Sussex County, the per capita income is only $35,212. So $74,000 in Hoboken, $35,000 in Sussex, yet Sussex County, the entire county, is listed as a rich area.
Yeah. Well, again, people have to be, aware. The voters, the voters, have to know what's going on, inform yourself. There's different bills that are being put forth, and go online and check it out. I know there's one called the Fair School Funding, which would give each student equal amounts of money. And then there's vouchers, there's school vouchers, although New Jersey, they don't allow it for for private schools. They do allow it for the public schools. So there's a lot of different issues that you really need to be informed about, know who your legislatures are and the people that are running, how they feel about it. It's just important, because we can't keep this up, and we need to change Trenton, because it's not working.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the viewers might be thinking that funding needs to go to certain things. For example, I had a son who was special needs.
Right.
And he had special needs education, early intervention, and so forth, through the public school system, which I'm very grateful for.
Absolutely.
And dramatic improvement in these students in that program, to the point that they're not a drain on the system or society later on.
Right.
So there is a return on the dollar.
Absolutely.
And
But that's money well spent.
That's money well spent,
Absolutely.
and we're not advocating that the money not go to the students.
Right.
What we want to see is that you stop having the fraud, waste, and abuse. Camden School District, for example, their food service department failed to collect $500,000 in meal fees. $1.5 million in food was wasted in the 2007-2008 fiscal year. The cost overruns in the food can't be explained. As a matter of fact, they were missing 93,967 units of milk that either fell off the truck, was ordered, and somehow there was a kickback, or somebody is lying out there. In Long Branch, the school district reported that to the Department of Education that the superintendent was receiving a base salary of $193,000. When the State Commission of Investigation researched it, they found that he was actually receiving $305,000.
Yeah. Now, how many times is that duplicated? This, like I said, the whole system needs to be revamped, and basically, it comes down to our children. We want them to be educated, and and we want the fair equity throughout our state. It's just it's unfortunate, because the children are the ones that suffer, because they don't get the education. So,
well, as the children are suffering,
in winding down, I would just hope that you voters will just go out there and inform yourself on what's going on with the school systems, and go online, go to your Board of Education, look at your school budget, and it's not that hard. Go over it. So. We hope that, we've sparked some interest, and hopefully we'll make a difference come election time, that will put people in there that will do the right thing for the people of New Jersey and the children of New Jersey. And, I thank you, Tim, for, all your...
We haven't even scratched the surface.
I know. You could spend a whole hour. There's just so much information, but that's the point. If we pique some interest, and, we thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back. And when we come back, we will have one of our other co-founders, Michelle Talamo, and she will speak to you on getting out the vote and changing Trenton, like we were saying, all these important issues. So come back and stick around and become informed. Thank you.
With all the excitement happening with the Tea Party, it may be a little hard to separate fact from fiction. Find out the truth for yourself. Visit the New Jersey Tea Party Coalition's website at www.njteapartycoalition.org. You may find a common voice to your concerns on how our government is functioning, and discover a means to help restore our nation based on the proven principles of our Constitution.
Hi, Hi, and welcome back to Tea Time, brought to you by New Jersey Tea Party Coalition. I'm Ray Rinaldi, your guest host, and tonight we have with us one of our other co-founders, Michelle Talamo, and she's going to talk to us tonight about how important it is to get out the vote. We have an upcoming election that's very crucial, and Michelle, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
The reason that this election is so important for people in New Jersey, it's because it is an election that surrounds only New Jersey. We actually have an off-year election when we elect our state senators and our state representatives. And this year, we do not have a governor that's up for election. We do not have a president that's up for election. And to that, people may stay home.
Right.
The perception may be that it's not important, when in fact it's extremely important for New Jersey.
Right.
We recently had the redistricting of the New Jersey legislative map, and there are new districts, new towns that are in the districts. There's a movement among the districts, and people may not, in fact, even have the same legislator that they had last year. So people need to become informed about what their district is and just to confirm who their legislators are.
So there are really, how many are up for re-election this year?
All of them, every single one.
So there's how many assembly in the state? 80?
Yes.
80? So 80 assembly seats
Yes.
are up for election?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be quite intense, as well as the Senate seats.
The Senate seats also?
So the issue is twofold. People are living in New Jersey. We have a very sad situation with jobs. We have an extremely sad situation with property taxes.
Oh, we just spoke about that. Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. I was listening in the green room,
Yep.
and it's just all connected. Everything is connected. People need to become informed. The last day to register to vote is October 18th. So if someone's moved or someone's new to the state, they need to go to wherever their county clerk is located. In Bergen County, for example, it's Hackensack.
Right.
They need to go there, or online, they can go to the post office and they can get a registration to vote form. Once they do that, then they have the option of voting by mail. In New Jersey, you do not need a specific reason to vote by mail. That form will be on our website if people choose to do that. In case if it is more convenient, they may be out of town. They just may find it's more convenient. Some people do not want to forget to go and vote. The election will be on November 8th. It'll be Tuesday, November 8th, and just to be sure, the polls open at 6 a.m. They'll be open to 8 p.m. Now, backing up for a moment and speaking about the senators that are running, normally the senator term is for 4 years.
Right.
But because we just had a redistricting, the term for the senators will only be 2 years. So people will be voting 2011 now for the senator.
The state senator.
And the state senator, correct, and the state representative. In another 2 years, they will do that again for the representatives and also for the senators. So people need to find out who their senator is, make
Right.
sure they're still in the same district that they were before. They need to familiarize themselves with that individual's voting record.
Now, if they go on our website, can they get this information as far as the different districts and who's running and?
Yes, they can
Okay.
go to our website. We'll have that listed, but they also can go to Ballotpedia. And just to make sure that I quoted correct, it's Ballotpedia, BALLOTPEDIA.org. And if they go there, they'll find a complete listing of all of the districts. They need to scroll down to the bottom. They'll find the districts. They'll find for the senator, the state senator, and for the state representative.
Assembly.
They'll be able to see who's running in their area, and they'll be able then to look up voting records. So it's a very, very useful tool.
And it's ballotpedia.com.
.org.
.org, sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
All right.
So that's extremely important.
Yes.
And when we look at what's happening in New Jersey, we have the jobs. We have the high real estate taxes. Now, when people voted last year, it was extremely important, and to demonstrate that, they actually turned over the freeholder control in Bergen County. Previous to that, the control with that freeholder board was involved with the Overpeck Park. Now, they call it now
Overspend.
Overpriced Park.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the budget went from $5 million to $24 million. An outrageous sum of money, which our taxes pay for. We have restrictions. Our real estate taxes are sky high. I don't know about anyone else, but my taxes from the year 2003 to now have gone up 55%. But my household income hasn't gone up 55%, and my services have not become 55% more valuable.
Right.
So I still get the same garbage pickup. I still get the same services in town. In fact, in the town I live in, many businesses have gone out of business, and they've been forced out through eminent domain. We have a very large pit in the middle of our town, and you're talking about mismanagement hand over hand.
Well, this is why, voters need to get out and make the difference and change your elected officials so that, if you keep doing the same thing and electing the same people, you're going to get the same results. So, we need to become informed and change the way our state is working, because it's not working. And it's so important. And, getting to the point with, the absentee ballot and the voter registration, there's a lot of children who turn 18 and are going to college. Very important that they register, and then you can go online, download the absentee ballot, they can fill it out and send it.
That's an excellent point.
This way, if they're in, Virginia or wherever college they're going to out of state, they can still vote in New Jersey, and it's just extremely important. Extremely important.
It definitely is. I mean, when people are looking at the responsibility to vote, it really is the part of the process that belongs to us.
Yes.
And if we do not do that, we cannot sit back and complain about what's not correct. People need to reach out to their legislators. They need to check the voting record. If they are not happy with a vote that's coming up, we know fair school funding will be coming up.
Yes.
We need more legislators to get behind that. We need them to support that. That affects our property taxes.
Absolutely.
The first segment was right on target. Everything is tied in, and the way people have a voice is they need to get up, and on November 8th, Tuesday, they need to go to the polling place. They need to cast their vote. I stress, do not vote along party lines. Know what the people stand for. Know how they voted before. Do not listen to the rhetoric. Check the voting record. You cannot say one thing and vote it another way. We want results. We want people to go out, get 5 more people to vote, 5 people that were not going to go, tell them why it's so important, and get them out there. Cast the vote. Let's New Jersey have a body, a legislative body that will work for all of the citizens.
For we the people. And again, your vote does count. One vote makes a difference. So, to say, well, I'm just one person and I don't count. Now, if everybody did that, we are in a sad state of affairs. So we need to lose that mentality and know that, it's our God-given right in our Constitution that our vote matters, and we do count, and we have to have our voices heard. So it's really important to vote. I mean, you talk to immigrants who come here, and they are just, so... they know what freedom is, and
they're proud.
They're so proud, and they make sure they get out and vote. So hopefully this will inspire everyone to get out and vote, and maybe give some more details. Again, reiterate that the site that they can go on, and the date of the election, and
Yes, the date of the election will be November 8th. It's Tuesday, November 8th, from the morning, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. They must register by October 18th. They can get mail-in ballots. They can go to our website, which is njteapartycoalition.org, to get information on the people who are in their district, and to check the district, they need to go to ballotpedia.org, and that will be on our website. When people go to our website, we will supply them with the information that they need. If someone cannot find that information, they can write to us at P.O. Box 45, Cliffside Park, New Jersey, 07010, and they can just write to us and tell us what they need, and we will get it to them. We'll be happy to do that. The most important thing is to get out there, and they can get the ballots, they can get the absentee ballots, they can give it to their friends, their relatives who need to vote. But when you vote, it really is responsible to know what you're voting for. We're not looking for people to just get in line with any party. We are nonpartisan.
That's right.
We are blind to party, but we are not blind to a voting record of a candidate.
Right.
That's what matters.
Right, and it's important that, there's so much information out there that the voters can become informed. And, I mean, that's what is going to protect our liberties. If we, the voting public, if we become informed and know the issues and know, how we want our elected officials to represent us, and then you go out and either work for them or vote for them, but you can't just sit back and do nothing, because it's it's important. It's just so important.
New Jersey needs a new voting attitude.
And for 80 seats, imagine 80 seats are up for re-election. That's a lot. And I don't know how many state Senate seats, but there's quite a few state Senate seats too.
They're all up.
Right.
Yes.
So we could really change the way New Jersey works.
Yes, they need to use their influence, get out and vote,
Right.
cast the vote, look at the record, make sure it's a record that you would be proud of, a record that will help us,
Right.
and a record that will help all homeowners, and it will help all citizens of New Jersey.
Right, and we'll make a difference. And, hopefully, this will reach a lot of people, and you'll hear us and, make your vote count, and encourage other people to get out and vote. So we want to thank you very much, Michelle, for all the information. And again, thank you for joining us. And go on www.njteapartycoalition.org, and you can get a lot of information off of there, and we link different sites. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.